everyone, my name is Kurt Dunn.
Greetings from Kelly's Kelly Yoga.
Hey, it's Robin Morrison, and I am your National Physical Activity Specialist. And it's time to make a move.
Jamaica, let's get moving again. Season 2 of the Ministry of Health and Wellness Jamaica Move series is here. Join us Wednesdays at 5 a.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on CVM TV. Let's get moving.
Make a move now.
Get Sagicor School Companion Health Plan for as little as $2,540 per month. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock. With rape charge, 4 pedestrians die in the last 48 hours. Concerns abound. Foreign Affairs Minister urges international support for Haiti. And in sports, Radish Roman rides hat-trick to draw level with Tevin Foster in Jockeys Championship. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7, the weekend edition for Saturday, September 28, 2024. I'm TK Dawkins. The St. James Police have nabbed a 17-year-old student for rape. The incident allegedly occurred in his community on August 5. Reports are that at 3:30 p.m., the teen pounced on the victim while she showered after gaining access to the property. After the assault, he reportedly threatened to burn down her house if she reported the incident. The culprit returned the following day to inflict further violence, but was intercepted by a passerby. He has since been charged and a court date is to be finalized. A Kingston security guard is now facing multiple gun charges after 3 men were shot and killed in the parish earlier this week. 31-year-old Lamar Leachman, also known as Tall Man, has been charged with 3 counts of murder, wounding with intent, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and possession of a prohibited weapon. Police reports indicate that around 9:50 a.m. on Monday, a group of men was sitting along Bray Street when gunmen exited a vehicle and opened fire on them. Several of the men were injured and 3 were pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. Leachman was arrested following a police investigation and was formally charged on Wednesday after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. A court date is being finalized. A 48-hour curfew is now in effect in sections of Green Island, Hanover, as authorities move to tighten security in the area. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Friday, September 27, and will remain in place until 6 p.m. on Sunday, September 29. The boundaries of the curfew span Prospect Square in the north to Cove Bridge in the east, down to Pell River Square in the south, and extend 2,832 meters west along the Caldwell Main Road. Residents within the affected areas are required to remain indoors unless authorized by the security forces. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith has called for an end to the economic embargo against Cuba and for its removal from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. Smith made these remarks at the 79th United Nations General Assembly, where she also condemned the violence from both Hamas and Israel, advocating for a 2-state solution and an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
And instability compel all parties to resolve the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. We commend the United States, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, and others who are making concerted efforts towards a peaceful resolution. We continue to support the United Nations Security Council Resolution 242 and believe that a 2-state solution is the best way to achieve lasting peace between Israel and Palestine. It is in this context that Jamaica has recognized the state of Palestine, and we call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages to bring an end to the protracted war and human suffering.
Closer to home, Smith also called for increased international mobilization for peacekeeping in gang-run Haiti, where Jamaica recently deployed troops.
Restoration of peace and security is critical to the creation of an environment in which free and fair elections can be held. The establishment of democratic governance is critical for sustainable economic growth and development for Haiti. Mr. President, since the deployment of the MSS, we have seen improvements in the situation and have reason for cautious optimism. More is needed, however, and time is not on Haiti's side. It is critical that we preserve and advance gains made. It is critical that we maintain hope and stability. We therefore urge the Security Council to renew the mandate of the MSS and to consider future transition to a peacekeeping framework to guarantee funding. We also call for continued and increased support from member states, including financial contributions to the trust fund. This is needed for deployment of additional personnel to support the HNP as they recover communities from criminal gangs.
On the issue of climate change, Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith echoed local leaders' calls for urgent action. While Jamaica currently enjoys a strengthened macroeconomic position, Smith warned that these gains are vulnerable to external shocks, citing the devastating effects of Hurricane Beryl in July.
It bears repeating that no country can combat the effects of climate change on its own. Jamaica therefore affirms our unwavering commitment to international cooperation to counter the negative impacts of climate change and to the pursuit of climate justice. We urge the major polluting nations to honor their commitments under the Paris Agreement and to meet their finance obligations. Furthermore, we welcome the adoption of the Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS, the ABAS, at the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States. More particularly, Jamaica endorses the call for a redoubling of international cooperation and action to accelerate mitigation and adaptation.
Jamaica's tourism sector may be headed for a transformative leap as Minister Edmund Bartlett pushes for innovative strategies aimed at amplifying the island's impact on the global market. With a spotlight on the booming cruise industry, recent discussions with Carnival Corporation and local stakeholders could pave the way for new economic opportunities. Ramon Gordon reports.
Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett is advocating for a bold strategy to boost Jamaica's position in the global tourism supply chain, with a keen focus on the profitable cruise sector. The call follows a two-day business opportunity meeting with Carnival Corporation and local manufacturers at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, where stakeholders explored the likelihood of future linkages. Bartlett believes that strengthening the supply side of local tourism is essential for maximizing economic benefits for Jamaicans.
We bring 4.3 million visitors to our shores. We earn $4.5 billion US dollars, but we argue about retention and that we are just about 40 cents in the dollar of retention. We can go to 60 cents, but we can only do that if we are able to supply against the demand of tourism.
Food accounts for at least 42% of visitor spending. That is, if a visitor spends $1,000, approximately $420 of that would be allocated for food. With the Caribbean cruise industry's food market currently valued at $5.3 billion US dollars, it's expected to grow to $17.3 billion by 2033.
Jamaica, with our share of the cruise business, has an important part to play in supplying against that demand of what will become $17.3 billion US dollars by 2033. And so asking you to be here today is to signal the intention of Jamaica to take a bigger slice of that. I can't give you the figure right now in terms of what our immediate supplies are. And in fact, if I did, I would be a little embarrassed because it's too low to express. But this is our moment to think about scaling up.
Jamaica achieved a historic milestone last year, welcoming a staggering 4.29 million visitors and generating US $4.38 billion in earnings. Since the start of 2024, the island has attracted at least 3 million stopover and cruise visitors, contributing approximately US $3 billion to the economy. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
The possibility exists that food prices could see gradual declines as the sector improves more in this story.
Use is on the rise, suggesting a decrease in prices for consumers. That's according to Agriculture Minister Floyd Green, who asserts Jamaica is exceeding its expected targets.
We are tracking ahead of our projections. In fact, initially I had said that I didn't think we would see any local production really come back before October, going down to November. That's what we had earmarked. But now we have already started to see the reemergence of local vegetable products on our market.
Green shared the news at a handing over ceremony of chemicals worth $9 million from the Jamaica Agricultural Chemicals Association. The agriculture sector is seemingly on the mend as over 14,000 farmers have remained resilient while donations trickle in.
Would we have been able to reach to all of them already? But the reality is that RADA was able to start distribution of inputs 2 weeks after Hurricane Beryl, which is the quickest ever that the government has been able to respond to a natural disaster of that magnitude.
While the sector had focused billions of dollars on their recovery efforts, the minister says he hasn't forgotten ongoing projects.
The National Irrigation Commission is still pushing forward its Excess Valley project, its Southern Plains Development Program. So all of that infrastructure work is still happening. I think it's important for us to note, because for our chemical providers, as we roll out our new agri-packs come 2025, we want you to be in a position to work with those agricultural entrepreneurs to ensure that they have the inputs that they need.
The minister, however, emphasized the significance of safe chemical use, adding collaboration with the health ministry is imperative.
As we go to look at more industrial type agriculture, we have to ensure, yes, that our chemicals are safe. We have to ensure, yes, that what we're doing is sustainable, but we also have to ensure that we're doing it, that our approval process is efficient so that we can be using first world chemicals to treat with our agricultural sector.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
A physician who has been traveling from the corporate area to Portland to maintain contact with a senior citizen continues to appeal for support to ensure his well-being. The 81-year-old has won the respect of many because even in his poverty-stricken stage, he has offered accommodation to another elderly gentleman.
Housing for the poor happens to be one of those hot-button topics for all politicians in Jamaica, be it at the local or at the national level. Unfortunately, so many people just seem to be falling through the cracks. Take, for example, 81-year-old Kenneth King, who lives in Comfort Castle, East Portland. Here he is in February 2024, sitting outside the house he occupied for years in a little section of the farming community. His countenance adds presence to the dilapidated structure, which grabbed the attention of the consultant pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, Dr. Sherrod Little.
Well, I was actually doing a hike with the Natural History Society of Jamaica about 7 months ago. And our hike took us past his house. And when I saw the house from a distance, I noticed the house was crooked. So all the lumbers in front were all slanted. And it looked like the house was about to fall down. And he was sitting on the front porch. So I stopped my hike, walked over to him, introduced myself. Because I couldn't just pass and not, do something. It would imminently fall down, and I didn't want him to be a news story to hear house collapse on this gentleman.
Or it could end up being your patient. Fast forward to now, post the perils of Hurricane Beryl. The senior king, who in his heydays was a carpenter and a mason, has, let's call it, different, as it's not a new house. The floor is masked by worn-out mats and planks of old loose wood cushioned by gravel. What was the last word from Food for the Poor?
Wow, I've reached out to them several times, and what they have said basically is that they have a lot of applications and they haven't reached his yet. And even when I told them his house has been blown down, this was the same answer. So I realized that there is a lot of need out there. There are a lot of people in need of help, but he's one person who I came across. And I think that if everyone can help one person, then things are going to be better for our country. So he's my focus right now. So I'll use whatever avenues are available to me to try and get some assistance for him.
He has 2 children within close proximity, but like he said, they're unable to even really help themselves.
That's true, because they have their own children and their own needs as well. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that sometimes we as children cannot help our parents. I'm sure if they could, they would, but the fact is they can't at this point in time. So I think the onus is on us as citizens to see how we can assist those who are in grave need.
So just tell me your name and who are you?
Dr. Sherrard Little. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon at the Bustamante Children's Hospital.
Anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I think that, well, I'm hoping that with this appeal, with your help through your station, we will raise the awareness as to the plight of Mr. King, and that we can get some assistance so that in short order he will be in a home that is more secure and secure from the elements.
Now, not only did Mr. King rehash his safe haven with the help of 2 others, but even in his state of poverty, he extended his place of abode to accommodate an old friend, 82-year-old Wesley Clark, who had no roof over his head.
We're taking a quick break. There's more to come.
It's a Egyptine mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Get ready for a schoolboy football doubleheader. First up, 2023 Ben Francis Cup winners McGraw battle Charlie Mount at 1:30 p.m. Then, Dental Technical and Uaten High square off at 3:30 p.m. The Costa Cup doubleheader, October 5. See it happen on CVM TV.
Schoolboy Football, brought to you by Edgechem, AIM Financial Services, Texaco, and Connix.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. A St. Mary man is dead after he was electrocuted while trimming a tree in Enfield and Otter Bay on Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as 46-year-old Leighton Merchant of Fort Stewart District. Police reports indicate that around 8:25 a.m., Merchant was cutting branches when he came in contact with high-tension wires. He was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Authorities say investigations are ongoing. There's mounting concern as the number of pedestrian deaths continue to climb. National Road Safety Unit NRSU Vice President Dr. Lucian Jones is calling for actions to stem the carnage among the most vulnerable road users. Currently, pedestrians and motorcyclists continue to drive the road-related deaths in Jamaica. Nika Lewis reports.
A Manchester family is left to mourn following the death of Rakesh Hansen, otherwise called Rox, a resident of New Forest in the parish. The 34-year-old pump attendant reportedly crashed his motorcycle at about 7:45 p.m. Friday on the Silent Hill Main Road, also in Manchester. Police say Hansen, a father of 4, was located. but his motorcycle was not, as it was reportedly removed from the scene before they arrived. In times past, loved ones shared fond memories of him, dominating the roadways with speed and style. It's alleged Hansen and his siblings were on several occasions encouraged to sell their motorcycles following a series of crashes in recent times. But despite motorcyclists being among some of the most likely victims of fatal crashes, the narrative...
And for the month of September, 29 persons have died.
Dr. Jones notes that of the total number of road deaths, 52 were pedestrians, several of whom died in the last few days.
The report this morning of 4 pedestrian fatalities in the past 48 hours brings into very sharp focus the extreme vulnerability of this category of road users, together with pedal cyclists and motorcyclists who make up the vulnerable road user category.
To stem the carnage that's now exposing pedestrians and vulnerable users to increased risks, he suggests renewed focus on public education and then strong enforcement measures to encourage reduced speed.
We really only have 2 options. One is to educate pedestrians on how to use the roads, which is an ongoing policy, something which the National Road Safety Council has been speaking about for a long time. And we just need to continue public education as a matter of priority so that less people can die on our roads.
As the perennial problem persists, the experts urge better designed roads to facilitate pedestrians' safety, more safety features, especially in built-up areas, and finally, road safety audits to ensure road construction meet international standards. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
Now for a look at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. We need a reset. That's according to Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley as she addressed the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York City this week. Here's a look back from the United Nations.
As I said, Mr. President, we need a reset, and we need to reset. Those of us here today representing our brothers and our sisters the world over have endured 4 years of polycrises. As the children of Mother Earth, we continue to wrestle with the climate crisis. As a human family, we grapple with the legacy of the pandemic. As a digitally connected people, we are now, regrettably, confronted by multiple theaters of war and scenes of horror and famine flowing from that war. Armed conflict instead of pursued development. Citizens of every country as well, struggling to contain the rising cost of living and the implications for them and their families on a day-to-day basis. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, we are all now threatened by the second but silent pandemic of antimicrobial resistance, together with a growing incidence of death and disability from chronic non-communicable diseases.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, Kenyan President William Ruto spoke at the 79th Annual UN General Assembly in New York and called on the international community to back the multinational security support mission in Haiti, which is being led by Kenyan forces. Here's Africa News.
Kenyan President William Ruto visited Haiti last Saturday, stating that the presence of the Kenyan police force combating gangs has led to a notable improvement in the country's security. On Thursday, President Ruto spoke at the 79th Annual General Assembly in New York and called on the international community to back the multinational security support mission in Haiti, which is being led by the Kenyan forces.
Following the Security Council's authorization under Resolution 2699, Kenya has deployed 382 specially trained police officers to Haiti. Just a few days ago, I had the opportunity to visit Haiti, witness the work of our officers in the field, and observe remarkable progress on the ground.
In international news, Hezbollah has confirmed the death of its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, after Israeli strikes in Beirut. Nasrallah, who had not been seen in public for years because of fears of being assassinated by Israel, was one of the best known and most influential figures in the Middle East. The latest now from the BBC.
The Israeli Defense Forces said this morning that they had killed Hassan Nasrallah, but we are hearing now from Hezbollah, confirmation from Hezbollah. They are saying that Hassan Nasrallah, a significant moment, they say, was killed in that airstrike here in southern Beirut last night.
After years of diligently searching for an option, the best chance for a little girl to move forward has been established. It, however, requires more than a connection to proceed, as the hospital in waiting, as we revealed last time, is outside of Jamaica. Colin Brown now gives you the opportunity to learn more about her and her parents in tonight's Inspire Jamaica.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Demoya Mendez's family ensures she does not feel inadequate. And that's why outdoor excursions like this one to Port Royal, which once served as the headquarters of the Royal Navy in the Caribbean, is so much fun.
Of course, activities like what you're seeing behind me takes place at this location very regularly too.
She gets to see the Jamaica Defense Force helicopter landing this close, not just in a coloring book. And minutes after, it's like a big bird so high and close to the clouds in the sky. Demoya, who will be 4 in June 2025, is a happy child. She is mindful, though, of her inability to stand. But as you can see, she does not limit herself. But she asks questions.
She always say like why she can't walk or stuff like that, and what's wrong with her foot. She asks those questions because like she watch her sisters and brother running around, and she wonder why she can't, be like running around like.
I think she wants to go down right now. Because she wants to be independent. Let her go. Let her do her thing. Right, Demoya, you ready to say ABC? Ready?
A, B, C, D, E, F, C, A, B, C, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Now I know
my ABC. Next up, 1, 2, 3, me.
Daddy, your time. I know that she's a daddy's girl, so you're always in the background. But what's your wish for her right now?
I just want her foot to fix so she can have a normal life and be the next Prime Minister.
For now, though, this child needs medical support to go to Tampa, Florida, where the Shriners Hospital has taken an interest in her 2 rare conditions: tibial hemimelia, missing shin bone in one foot, and radial club hands.
To be honest, I have never put a figure together, but basically I think the 2 most expensive aspect would be rent and basically
eventualities, like anything outside of this.
Exactly, yes.
Kind of hard to put a figure, don't it?
Definitely, kind of hard to put a figure because we would be in US and we don't really know the cost for rent in Florida. So we'd have to do some more research on that.
But your plea again?
we are asking for any kind of help. It will go such a far way, because the family is gonna do what they can do basically, and then we will seek outside help, So we are begging.
And we ask of you kindly to help if you can. I'm Carolyn Brown. Let's continue to inspire Jamaica.
Somebody's head.
It's time for another break. Sports with Ronaldo Adams is up next.
KFC, what we're pulling up. Anything for the taste of a KFC, big deal. The time by KFC is...
Me, I gotta show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Father, what you doing again?
Writing the opera Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Jamaican opera, master.
Jamaican opera?
Yes. It's about the greatest of prophets.
When is it going to be?
5th and 6th of October.
One
weekend only.
Where can I get my ticket?
You have to check social media, master.
Social media?
Social media.
What, Father, you got high-tech, man?
Yeah, man.
Isaiah, October 5 and 6 at the National Arena. 1 weekend only. Don't you miss it.
My heart goes crazy when you take the list of time. Let's explore our love. We'll leave the world behind. Can you feel me
Schoolboy Football, September 7 to December 14 on CVM TV.
Schoolboy Football, brought to you by HChem, AIM Financial Services, Texaco, and Connix.
Good evening and welcome to Sports. I'm Ronaldo Adams. We begin with news on football. The Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association, ISSA, was forced to postpone all games scheduled for Saturday, September 28, 2024 in the Da Costa Cup competition. These games are now scheduled to be played on Monday, September 30, 2024. According to a release from ISSA earlier today, the postponement of the games resulted from a position taken by the members of the Jamaica Football Referees Association and communicated to ISSA earlier today to not make themselves available for games in our competitions until an urgent meeting is held between their representatives and ISSA. It should be noted that ISSA arranged and met with the representatives of the JFRA within an hour of receiving the letter of concern. Despite a fruitful meeting where all concerns raised were addressed and solutions agreed upon, the referees decided that they would not make themselves available for games before Monday, September 30, 2024. The concerns raised by the JFRA are related to the general safety and security of match officials at our games, as well as the stipulated penalties for persons who verbally or physically abuse match officials. ISSA has committed to reviewing its general operations and, in particular, the specific areas of concerns raised, with the intention of ensuring that we continue to provide a safe and wholesome environment for all